my boss set me up, I flipped the script. So I got punished at work, and I deserved it. Sort of. Okay, technically I didn't break any rules, but I might have accidentally roasted my boss in front of a client. And by accidentally, I mean I made a sarcastic comment that wasn't meant to be heard outside the four walls of our sad, beige conference room, but the walls are thin, the door was open, and the client was right there. My exact words, yeah, Brad's brilliant strategy of, let's do what we did last year but louder, is totally going to impress them. Cue the client awkwardly clearing his throat, and Brad turning the exact shade of uncooked shrimp. I didn't get fired, surprisingly. Instead, I got reassigned. That's corporate speak for, we can't legally fire you, so we're gonna make your life hell until you quit on your own. And that's how I ended up with the most soul-crushing, career-stalling, resume-killing task in the entire company, running the weekly internal communications bulletin. Basically, I was now in charge of putting together a PDF newsletter full of crap like, Janet from accounting's cat turned 15. Don't forget your fire drill, buddy. The break room microwave is still off limits to fish. It was the corporate equivalent of being put in the corner with a dunce cap and a glitter pen. Brad even smiled when he told me. Smiled, this'll be a great opportunity for you to show your creativity, he said. Translation, enjoy writing about birthday cupcakes and printer etiquette, smartass. The office space they gave me, a horror film set. They moved me out of my cubicle into a forgotten room on the basement level. I wish I were kidding. It used to be a file storage closet. There was a dead spider in the corner who looked like he gave up on life halfway through October 2022. One flickering fluorescent light overhead. A window, but it looked directly at a brick wall. I think the wall was mocking me. My new desk wobbled. The chair squeaked every time I shifted my weight, which made every Zoom call sound like I was being attacked by a rubber duck. No one visited. I mean, why would they? I was now the guy responsible for formatting birthday shoutouts and reminding people to wash their Tupperware. I started talking to the potted plant they left behind, named him Craig. He's plastic, but he listens. I didn't even know how to use the company's stupid newsletter tool. It crashed twice, deleted my edits, and for some reason autocorrected mandatory training to mandatory spanking, which, fun fact, led to an awkward email from HR. I sent it out at 4:59 p.m. on a Friday, expecting it to go straight to the trash folder like every other edition ever made. Instead, I got 17 replies. Not positive ones. Most were along the lines of, who put memes in the newsletter? Is this a joke? Did someone hack our system? And one from the VP of Finance that just said, unsubscribe. But among the rage and confusion, I also got one message that just said, not gonna lie, I actually laughed, thanks, Jay. And that was it, one sentence, from someone named Jay. But that tiny, anonymous shred of appreciation hit me harder than any performance review I've ever had. Someone laughed, someone read the thing and didn't immediately want to punch me through the screen. So I kept going, but I did it my way. The next week's edition featured a fake advice column called Ask Craig, written by my office plant. A meme of the week I found on Reddit. Dramatic retelling of the coffee machine's breakdown in iambic pentameter. I figured screw it, if I was gonna go down, I'd go down in flames my way. To my surprise, people kept opening the emails, some even forwarded them. I started getting submissions. Yes, seriously, submissions, like I was running the Onion, corporate edition. The janitor sent me a photo of a tiny door behind a vent with the caption, where it hides your tickets. An intern submitted a haiku about printer toner. Someone else wrote an anonymous piece titled, Why I'd Rather Eat My Shoe Than Attend Another Town Hall. And somewhere in the mess, that same Jay replied again. Craig's advice this week was better than my therapist. Don't tell her I said that. Brad hadn't said a word yet. I assumed he wasn't reading the newsletters. He probably made his assistant do it for him. But deep down, I knew the storm was coming. This wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't following the boring corporate template. I wasn't giving them the sterile, polished, people smile but no one laughs content they wanted. I was just being me, sarcastic, unfiltered, slightly unhinged. And people were eating it up. But the higher the balloon floats, the louder it pops when someone finally notices it. And Brad, he was about to bring the needle. About 3 weeks in, the bulletin officially got a nickname. Someone from marketing referred to it as the basement scroll. Like some kind of underground zine passed around by a rebellious office subculture, which, yeah, that tracks. People started coming up to me in the elevator, people who had never spoken to me before, and whispering things like, Yo, Craig's tea about the passive-aggressive post-it war in break room B was hot. Oh, I swear I only come to work on Mondays to see what chaos you're reporting next. Honestly, it was both flattering and mildly terrifying. I had accidentally become popular, which is not a state I'm comfortable with. I'm a sarcasm guy, not a popularity guy. Even weirder, the people sending me stuff were the outcasts, the overlooked, the folks that corporate forgot about. There was Marcus, the night shift security guy, who sent me a screenshot of a Slack channel no one uses anymore that he turned into a roleplay forum for fictional office drama. There was Linda from Peril, who kept forwarding me passive-aggressive emails she got from a VP who insists on using Comic Sans in every message. And then there was her, Julia from HR. The first time I noticed her name, it was just at the bottom of an email. Ray, office bulletin, please avoid describing the coffee machine as a steampunk demon. While humorous, some employees felt mildly attacked. I replied, only because they are the ones who keep jamming it with oat milk pods. No response. A week later, another message. Your Craig's Corner segment now has a cult following. We received 3 requests for Craig to run for Employee of the Month. He is, as a reminder, not real. I replied with a photo of Craig wearing a post-it crown. Still no reply. But the week after that, she broke character. I got this. Okay, you got me. I laughed at Craig's relationship advice. If he's not watering you, leave him. I choked on my soup. Bam, connection established. Over the next few editions, she started sending suggestions, not formal ones, just little notes. Can Craig weigh in on office refrigerator politics? Maybe spotlight weird desk decor. I've seen a Pikachu shrine on floor 3. I wasn't sure what was happening, but I was sure of one thing. This job, this dumb punishment of a task, was starting to become the best part of my day. The office weirdos became my people. Here's the thing they never tell you about corporate life. It's basically high school with worse lighting. There are cliques, there are politics, and most of the time, there's this silent pressure to keep your head down and pretend you care deeply about Q4 projections. But my crew, we were the misfits, the ones who knew that half of what we were doing was performative nonsense, and the only way to survive it was to laugh. I started getting invited to lunch by people I'd never even nodded at before. Someone brought me coffee with a post-it that said blessings from Craig. I got a sticker made that said certified basement scroll contributor and handed it out to regulars. And somehow, somewhere along the line, I started caring. Not just about the newsletter, but about these people. The invisible ones, the ones whose jokes never made the town hall, the ones who rolled their eyes in meetings but still showed up every day. I felt seen, and for the first time since I joined this company, I felt like I was making something that mattered, even if it was just a glorified meme digest. Naturally, that's when Brad noticed. Email came in at 8:12 a.m. on a Thursday, way too early for drama. Subject line, let's chat today. I dragged myself upstairs to the C-suite level, where the air is thicker and no one wears sneakers. Brad was waiting, sipping from a mug that said Teamwork MAKES the Dream Work in bold Helvetica. He motioned to the seat across from him like he was about to deliver a TED talk. So this little newsletter project, it's gotten some attention. He said newsletter project, like he was describing a toddler's macaroni art. Some of the VPs are reading it. Even the regional director saw last week's issue, the one with the which print are you quiz. He paused. He's apparently a jammy Gerald, by the way. I didn't know whether to laugh or throw up. Brad leaned forward. Here's the thing, we're getting engagement, and in this quarter's climate, engagement is key. A phrase that made me die inside. So we want to formalize the bulletin, give it a facelift, make it brand safe. There it was. You'll get a design team, an editor, a comms manager, weekly approval meetings, maybe even feature quotes from executives. It'll be polished, professional. He smiled like he was offering me a promotion. But it felt like a funeral. That afternoon, my inbox exploded. Suddenly, I had a creative team assigned to me. People I'd never met started suggesting brand-forward language. Craig was declared non-aligned with corporate values. Memes were banned, the haikus had to be optimistically toned. And don't even get me started on the corporate-approved color palette. Julia sent me a one-line message. RIP basement scroll, you beautiful mess. I just stared at my screen, dead inside. This thing that started as a punishment, that became my lifeline, was now being sterilized into oblivion. The rebels were being replaced by the PR army. And me, I was the guy holding the microphone while they wrote the script. And I stormed into Brad's office, tossed a stack of sanitized drafts on his desk and yelled, "This isn't what the scroll stood for," like I was the protagonist of some workplace movie nobody asked for. But no, I didn't. I sat there. I nodded through the meetings. I let the creative team gut the soul out of the bulletin, one emoji at a time. The new version launched with a sparkling header, executive quotes, and a message from our CEO about driving impact through synergy. Craig gone. The haikus replaced with employee spotlights. No more memes, no more weirdness, no more heart. It was clean, professional, and completely dead inside. The first Monday it launched, my inbox was silent. Not a single reply. No lol-s. No Craig 2024. Not even a passive-aggressive, where's the chaos? By Wednesday I got one message. Just one. From Jay. Not gonna lie, this hurts. It feels like they lobotomized it, and you. I miss the guy who put fake dating profiles in for the breakroom fridge. That one hit deep. It was true. Somewhere in the process of going legit, I had started editing myself before anyone else could. I second-guessed every joke. Deleted the parts that made me laugh. And worst of all, I stopped enjoying it. It wasn't punishment anymore. It was worse, it became just a job. A physical letter in an envelope on my desk. No return address. Inside a single sheet of paper. Don't let them clean the soul out of it. What you were doing mattered. Not because it was funny, but because it was honest. We don't need another fake smile. We need someone to say what we're all thinking. Bring back the chaos. A fan. No name, no hint, just that. I stared at it for a full 10 minutes. Then I looked at Craig. He was still sitting in the corner, dusty and forgotten, next to a stack of branded folders I never opened. I picked him up, dusted him off, and for the first time in a month, I smiled. This time, it's personal. I started small. Tiny things. Hyperlink embedded in the wellness tip of the week that led to a video of a raccoon stealing office snacks. A new quote of the week section that looked real until you realized it was stuff overheard in the elevator like. If I died during a Zoom, just mute me. I reintroduced Craig, this time as Senior Morale Advisor Unpaid, Plastic. No one said anything. Maybe no one noticed. Or maybe they did, and they were just watching to see what I'd do next. So I pushed further. The next bulletin opened with a 2-column, side-by-side comparison. Official corporate message. We value every employee's contribution. Translation according to Craig. Please stop quitting. I fully expected Brad to burst into my basement Excel with a flaming keyboard and a termination form. But he didn't. Instead, people came back. The emails trickled in again. Wait, was that a haiku about printer paper jams? Craig is back. This week's passive-aggressive flowchart of how to request time off was painfully accurate. Even Jay sent a message. You sneaky bastard. You brought him back. Lunch this week, my treat. And just like that, the spark was back. It wasn't about making fun of the company. It was about giving the people inside it a place to breathe. To laugh. To feel human in between spreadsheets and status updates. Then Brad called me in again. This time he didn't look smug. He looked confused. I've been getting emails. People are talking about the bulletin again. I said nothing. Someone even printed it out and pinned it to the breakroom wall. He blinked at me. One manager said his team actually talks about it in their Monday huddle now. Still silent. And apparently there's now a betting pool about what Craig will say next. I raised an eyebrow. So keep doing whatever it is you're doing. Just maybe lay off the jokes about executive compensation. He walked out. That was it. No threats, no edits, just surrender. I didn't win, but I did lose either. What started as punishment turned into my platform. Not for rebellion, but for connection. And here's the wildest part, it made me actually care about this place. Not the company. The people. The weirdos, the quiet ones, the sarcastic cubicle philosophers, they're the reason I keep showing up. And if writing this bulletin gives them 5 minutes of feeling seen each week, then screw the templates. Craig's here to stay. So I met Julia for lunch. Not in some dimly lit speakeasy or rooftop cafe with a skyline view, nah. We went to the sad little sandwich place across the street that smells vaguely like regret and old turkey. She was already there when I arrived, sitting by the window, picking lettuce out of her wrap with surgical precision. I don't trust shredded lettuce, she said. It's like the glitter of salad ingredients, gets everywhere and adds nothing. Yeah, I liked her instantly. He didn't talk shop at first. Mostly riffed on random office gossip, who microwaved fish again, who got caught napping in the nap pod that's not a nap pod, and which VP was rumored to have a secret second family and a crypto side hustle, both unconfirmed. Eventually, between bites of underwhelming ciabatta, she said, You know what you're doing matters, right? I gave a little shrug, default sarcasm mode engaged. I'm literally writing a fake newsletter for an office that runs on caffeine and existential dread. She smiled, tilted her head. Yeah, and people feel seen because of it, that's rare. There was a beat of silence, not awkward, just charged. Then she dropped the bomb. They offered me a new role, Regional HR, Chicago. Boom. It's more money, better title, way more politics. I haven't said yes yet. I blinked. Because of the bulletin. She laughed softly. Because of the people behind it. You mostly. It reminded me why I got into this job, before all the compliance modules and fake smiles. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded and stole one of her fries. She let me. Meanwhile, back in Basementville, the bulletin was now the thing. People were treating it like their weekly dose of therapy and chaos. Someone printed the last issue and taped it inside a bathroom stall like inspirational reading material. I got invited to speak at a new hire orientation. Me. The guy who once wrote a limerick about printer ink shortages. I walked into the room thinking I'd just sit in the back. Instead, they made me host a Q&A about company culture. First question from a new hire named Dev. Is Craig based on a real person, and if so, can I meet him? Second question. What's the best way to survive upper management without selling your soul? I told them the truth. Find your people. Laugh a lot. Don't trust anyone who unironically uses the phrase, action items. And if someone invites you to a meeting without an agenda, don't go. Room exploded in laughter, felt good. That Friday, I got an email from Brad. Subject: opportunity for growth. Which in corporate can mean anything from we want to promote you to surprise, you're managing Dave now. But this one, it was legit. We're launching a new internal engagement initiative, he wrote. We want you to lead the content side, across departments, maybe even regional offices. It's your voice people are responding to. Attached a formal offer, bigger role, better pay, no more basement. A real seat at the table. I stared at the screen for a long time. Because here's the thing, I should have felt excited. But I didn't. Not really. Because it came with strings. New guidelines. Creative alignment. Monthly reports to communications. And worst of all, no more anonymity. No more Craig. I do this sometimes when it's late and the place is empty. It's weirdly peaceful. I walked past the cubicles, the flickering vending machine, the forgotten whiteboard with a drawing of a unicorn labeled Q1 goals. I passed Craig's corner and gave him a little salute. What do we think, buddy? I asked. He didn't respond. Obviously, he's plastic. But I imagined he would have said something like, take the gig. But only if you get to stay weird. I knew he was right. Next morning, I replied to Brad. Appreciate the offer. I'll take it on one condition. I keep full creative control. No tone policing, no rewrites, no fake culture speak. Craig stays, the chaos stays. He replied 6 hours later. Let's talk Monday. Which again could mean anything. And Julia. She messaged me that same day. I'm leaning towards staying. Not because of you. Okay, maybe a little because of you. Also because Chicago winters are terrifying. I sent back. If you leave, Craig will stage a walkout. With tiny picket signs. Her reply. Then I guess I'm staying. I need to see that. Monday came. I walked into the office like I had a purpose, which, let's be real, I wasn't sure I did, but I had a purpose. That was something. The meeting room was polished, too polished. The kind of room where people pretend to listen to each other, but are really thinking about the next PowerPoint slide. Brad was there. So was the team, all shiny, pristine, and professional. There was a project manager, a PR rep, a comms lead. Everyone had a clipboard or tablet or something that made them look like they had control. I took a seat across from Brad, my hands in my pockets, trying not to roll my eyes too hard. So we're all excited about this, Brad started, flashing that fake-ass corporate smile. This is an opportunity for you, Craig, to expand your role, but it's got to be consistent with the brand. We need a cohesive message, less chaos. I nodded. There it was, the catch, the usual. He leaned forward, all serious. What do you think? I could feel the weight of the moment. Everything I had built in the last few months, everything that had made me feel like something, it was on the line now. One decision and the entire culture I'd created could be wiped out, just like that. But I wasn't ready to give it up. I think, I said slowly, that I'm tired of pretending. The company doesn't need more polished noise. It needs real. People need to be able to laugh, to not feel like they're walking on eggshells every damn day. I saw a flicker of something in his eyes. Fear or maybe disappointment, I wasn't sure. I leaned in, hands still in my pockets. You want me to lead the engagement, Brad? Then let me lead, not with more sanitized newsletters, but with what's real. Let the weirdness shine through. People care about Craig, about the stupid, silly, real stuff, because it's the one thing that doesn't feel like it's selling them anything. There was a moment of silence. Brad didn't say anything. Nobody did. I thought maybe I had just torpedoed my career. But then Brad stood up, walked to the whiteboard and started writing something. If I agree to this, he said slowly, you keep the weirdness, the chaos, Craig stays, but I'll need something in return. I need metrics, results. I was silent. What the hell did he mean by metrics? What do you mean by results? I asked, crossing my arms. Do you want me to quantify chaos because you can't? I want numbers, engagement, employee retention. He shrugged. We'll measure everything. If it's successful, we expand. If not. I knew what that if not meant, but I also knew I couldn't back down. Deal, I said before I could second guess myself. Brad smirked. He knew he had me cornered. But I had one thing he didn't: truth. The first week of real freedom. I don't even know how to describe it, but something shifted in those first few days after the meeting. The bulletin came back, but this time it was real again. Real in a way that made me laugh, that made people care. There were memes again, a fake personality test for introverts who couldn't get enough of Excel sheets. Craig was back with a vengeance. The weekly feature I'd written on, how to look busy in a Zoom call without actually doing anything, got more responses than I could count. There was a post about how to survive the office, team building, events without losing your soul, and suddenly the HR department didn't seem so intimidating anymore. It was freeing. The engagement soared. The comments flooded in. People who never spoke to me before started talking about the bulletin like it was their weekly fix. And when I got the first report, employee engagement was up 12%. Retention, 8% higher than last quarter. Brad didn't even look surprised when he walked in. I think we've got something here, he said. You're the voice of the people, just remember to keep it on brand. I smiled. Yeah, sure, on brand. The next week, I was waiting for my lunch order when Julia texted me. I did it, I'm staying. I was going to take the regional role, but I think I've found something that matters more here. I smiled. Good choice, Chicago's winters are hell anyway. She replied with a heart emoji. Later that afternoon, I caught her in the hallway. So what's next for us? I asked, raising an eyebrow. She just shrugged. Maybe we'll get lunch again. Maybe it won't be a sad sandwich shop next time. It felt like a new chapter, a better one. As the months went on, the office changed. Not dramatically, it wasn't some big revolution. But the culture shifted, people were laughing more, the chaos was manageable, Craig was a staple, employees started feeling like they could actually speak their minds. And me, I didn't need the validation anymore. I didn't need a promotion, I didn't need to play by their rules. Because I had created something that was real, something that spoke for all the quiet, frustrated souls who didn't get their voices heard. The next year I got a formal review. Brad sat down, paper in hand, looking like he was about to give me a stern lecture. You know, he started, the whole basement scroll thing, I still don't get it, but... He sighed, it's been working, we're getting results, people are engaged, keep it up. I smiled. Don't worry, Brad, I'll keep it weird.